Hello, this is Gary Seal with the TrueCon Consulting Group. The following video is an excerpt of a presentation I made on June the 5th regarding competitive intelligence. And from that standpoint, we're looking at the capabilities of your company versus your competitors. We used three different companies in the original document as examples. One, a database IT services company, the other industrial distribution, and then final, a manufacturing and services company. This overview, especially from the full document, gives you a capability to go in there and analyze your specific strengths and potential weaknesses in the organization, taking into consideration the full pressures of the marketplace. I hope you'll take time there, request the document. I'll provide you with a link to a website and you can access the entire document. And then should I be able to help you in any way do your own competitive analysis, don't hesitate to give me a call. Thanks again for taking time to look at the information.
When I was in the distribution business, I knew that if I didn't keep a new employee for at least 2 years, I'd essentially wasted my hire, because there are that many moving parts that it took to come up to speed and be efficient. So we want that operational stability that a consistent employee produces for us. Very good. So employee turnover drivers, I did part of my dissertation on this sort of thing. Is that how does the influence of senior management have an impact on the people, the morale, and the productivity in a particular company? And what you're going to find is that people want upward mobility, but if you don't have a fairly large company, where are they going to go? Poor communication is huge. And of course, the elephant in the room always is money. How much am I getting paid? All right? And why can't I make more? That's an issue. Loss of recognition, and then of course the inflexible policies. And I have a slide on baby boomers versus younger generation. I'm a boomer. I'm like a post-World War II guy. I came from a structure mentality, and that tends to work extremely well for me. However, for the newest generation, they want flexibility and they don't want to be hemmed in by these rules. In my mind, without order, chaos, and what they say is with all this order and structure, then I'm confined and I don't like that sort of thing. Yeah, for new people. Intellectual property. So the whole thing about proprietary software, somebody writing software for their own company, Austin, I'm looking at you, yeah, because he has, and that sort of thing. So we don't want anybody taking that intellectual property. Our databases, our processes, Danny's going to talk to you about an 8-step process in there. We don't want to necessarily just distribute that to everybody, because it's what you're doing to have a competitive advantage. Working capital. I know we have some people in the room that know working capital extremely well. Cash flows, receivables. What happens if you got a nice contract and you've got suppliers paying you in 90 days, yet you have something that you need to add a couple of employees, you need probably $250,000 or $300,000 per employee just to bring them on board. It's not here yet, but it's going to be there, but you've got to pay for that infrastructure up front. So rising costs, man, we have inflation, the cost of chips. It's hard to find people. Cybersecurity risks, they could shoot you in the foot, right? Technology investments. So I looked at that, and there are some very large people out there. Amazon services, Microsoft, Google Cloud, they all love to have your business. For a company this size, the hypothetical 50 employees, $10 million, your database or your software support package for that company could cost a minimum of $50,000 up to $150,000 plus, just to have that total package going right there. So what can you do? You have to start looking at your business and your opportunities, if you will, and where are places that you could potentially expand based on your knowledge in the marketplace. So AI integration, apparently Jeff is getting into this real big right now. It's a huge issue regarding how much you're going to rely on AI. what expertise that you have, and then we are already hearing the term AI slop out there because people are relying on it too much. I know Victor has gotten certification in it just within the last 6 months or something like that. It's an important issue in the business culture because it's so easy, right? Austin went out and built his own package oriented around the mortgage lending business. So it's a huge advantage if you know how to use it correctly. I think we're exposing ourselves to some vulnerabilities and we totally rely on it without some human interface. Although I look at, and again, my focus is on the small to medium-sized business enterprises. We saw some of these people that are good old boys and they run their business for a long time, but they're not technically savvy, and as a result, they're not using the digital leverage that is available in the marketplace. So when you call them, you still get a person on the phone. They may or may not know what your need are asking for, versus the fact that if you call in, you have a really well developed AI response package, then you're not dealing with that person on the phone and they're still getting a qualified answer. That's what we're talking about with digital leverage. This helps drive expenses out of the marketplace. Consequently, you have higher margin and you're able to scale your business. So you have to look at, I have these capabilities. Do I need to add a person, which means I need $300,000 worth of revenue, or can I do it with a slightly deeper investment in technology software? And that's the goal. And that's what the younger generation is expecting when they get you on the phone as a customer-supplier relationship. Okay, customer economics, what are we looking at? We have to drive home the point that customer retention is extremely important. The average company is going to lose 10% of their accounts. That's painful. If you're above average, 90, 95, if you're 98, then you're flying. You're doing extremely well. The thing that you want to do when contract renewal time comes up and is available, you want it to be a no-brainer answer in your customer's eyes. Do you have adequate growth every year? Do you have margin? And so if we look at the key metrics there, the digital leverage, are you able to actually grow your business without growing expenses exponentially? And are the customers, this is LTV to customer acquisition cost, staying stable or growing? And operational excellence, we're going to look at everything that the customer is expecting for you. And then the competitor gap, when we start saying, where can I go? Are you performing better with these metrics, those 17 on that previous slide? And this is once again available on a website I have for you. Then you start looking at the gap. Where can I go with this thing? And then AI forecasting, I'm sure Jeff and you guys that have dug into AI, you know the metrics available that allow us to forecast. I tried FX trading about 4 or 5 years ago. I literally lost my shirt. If we had had AI back at the time, I may have stayed in, but I certainly didn't. The ability to gather all that data and make a projection is amazing. We have a scale there, which gives you an opportunity to weight your strengths and determine how you may actually proceed into business expansion. And here's the slide that wins all slides because it's got 20 lines plus, right? If you go back and look at all of these different features and aspects of how your company is performing, poorly, well, extremely well, then they're going to be able to determine if you can in fact expand. But it just gives you an overview of the expansive capabilities out there for you to use metrics and quantify what your company can do. Questions, comments?